How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Coast to Coast Creatives. My name is Joe Funk, and I host this podcast with the one, the only, Taurean Cavins-Flores. First of all, Taurean and I want to say thank you and express our gratitude to everyone who's listening in, everyone who's deciding to come on this journey with us. I'm really not going to say too much in this introduction because I want this podcast to speak for itself. In this episode, Taurean and I talk a little bit about who we are and what we hope to gain out of this show. Again, thank you so much for coming on this journey with us. This is only the beginning, and we can't wait to see where it goes. Thank you.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Coast to Coast Creatives. My name is Taurean Cavins-Flores, and opposite me, the table, I have...
Joe Funk.
Joe Funk.
Hello.
We're really excited to start this podcast. We've been talking about it for a long time, actually, and we are finally getting it up on its feet. And, our idea for this podcast is to just get creative people together, whether it be an actor like myself, a photographer like Joe, or anybody creative. It could be a painter, it could be a voiceover artist, it could be a production manager, anybody. We just want to have you on the show and share our experiences with the world.
Yeah, when we were talking about the concept for the show, both of our backgrounds are within film and TV entertainment. And when we were talking about it, we came to the realization, it's like, okay, well, we don't want to be too specific with the type of guests or the subjects that we're going to cover, because in our opinion, there isn't a art form that is quite as collaborative as filmmaking. And all of the people that we've worked with, as Taurean just mentioned, have completely different artistic backgrounds. Some of them are writers, some of them are directors. Taurean is an actor. I'm primarily a photographer, but I also dabble in directing and cinematography and aerial cinematography. So we have so many people that we can reach out to with amazing film backgrounds, people that we've met in Los Angeles and people we've met here in Atlanta. So that was the main thought behind this podcast. Who knows? Maybe it will evolve over time. I'm down whichever direction it goes. I'm down for that. But that's our starting point right now.
Yeah, I'm very down for that as well. I'm just really excited to be here. I think it's a great idea, and podcasting nowadays it's just so accessible for everybody. And whether you're on the drive to work or on a walk or at the gym, like you can listen to us anywhere. So yeah,
how many people are going to listen to us while they're pumping iron?
I would listen to us.
You would listen to yourself while you're.
Yeah, I'm very vain, Joe.
Let me know how it affects your gains, because I'm curious. I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll dabble in motivational speaking, so that might work. Let's talk a little bit about the name of the podcast and how we came to that name. We came up with that name at Buffalo Wild Wings here in Georgia.
Thank God we did.
In Alpharetta, we were toying with a few different names, a few different concepts, and there were two main ideas that we wanted to get across with the name. As we mentioned before, we want it to be based in the creative world, but also not be limited, not just be acting, not just be photography or editing or color grading or any of these things that we dabble in. We want it to be a little bit more all-encompassing. So we decided to go with the name Creatives. And the Coast to Coast came about because we spent all of our 20s, about 8 years. 8 years for me. How many years was it for you? 7?
7, almost 8.
Yeah, we spent pretty much all of our 20s in Los Angeles before moving to Atlanta, and we are always open-minded to the idea of traveling for work, and these creative people can be and are anywhere. And in this age that we live in, you can be a creative person from anywhere. And we like to promote that idea and hopefully be traveling as well. It would be great if we could travel to some of our guests. So I know we know some people, obviously in Los Angeles, in New York, back in Minnesota. I assume you know some people in Colorado you'd like to talk to?
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of people in Colorado that I would like to talk to. One of my friends who I did a ton of improv in Colorado with. I think he'd be fun. He'd be a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah. We already have a small list going of people that we want to talk to, and we're excited for everybody coming along on this journey with us. So with that, let's talk a little bit more about ourselves. Let's more thoroughly introduce ourselves. Why don't you give us a little bit of your backstory?
Okay. So I was born in Colorado, and I've just never had a question of what I want to do. It's always just been acting. I feel I'm pretty lucky in that respect. A lot of people question it. I never have. So the thought process there has been pretty easy. I majored in theater in college. I did it in high school. In high school, I was on the forensics and debate team, and some people know what it is, but when I say forensics, they're like, oh, you found fingerprints and solved crimes. And I'm like, no. Basically, what forensics means is just it's like competitive acting. And so that was actually really great for me because it played to my competitive side, because I'm a hockey player as well, and it just, I like that competition. So like I said, I majored in it in college as well, and then I went to the National Theater Conservatory. After that, I moved to LA, did that for just above 7 years, and finally just made the decision to move to Atlanta because this is where the industry largely has started moving, and so had to make that right career move, and here we are. And honestly, Joe and I are both flourishing here, so it's nice to know that with hard work come results.
You dabble in both film and TV acting as well as stage acting.
Stage acting, yeah. Big love for stage. I went to the National Theater Conservatory, like I said, so that's all like classical, traditional training. So I do have a deep-rooted love for the stage, and also in LA, it's such a struggle, getting work there as an actor. It's very oversaturated and stuff. So it's tough to get work and to have that creative outlet. So I do have a certain love for the stage because my creative outlet as an actor was at Playhouse West when we would do one-act festivals and things like that. I could pick, something that just has emotional depth and something that I want to do. And, big love for the stage. But growing up, movies were my safe place and my solace, and so my heart lies within film and TV.
So if you had to divide up your love for those two, for the stage and for film and TV, which way would you favor? Do you like to jump back and forth? Do you like to finish up a film project and then work on some stage work to keep you fresh? I know a lot of actors like that.
Yeah, I like to, I guess jump back and forth. It doesn't have to be film. film, theater. It's just kind of whatever comes my way, you know. But they're equally passionate, but they have different. Oh God, this, you know, use a word like this. They have different energy. So you know, I mean, on stage, you work off other people live. Of course, your fellow actors, but you're also feeding off of that energy from the audience, which you know, you majored in theater in college as well.
I've dabbled. Yeah.
Dabbled. And then film is a little different. You know, you have the crew as your audience, kind of.
Yeah,
and
it's very different.
It's a different headspace, and the inspiration has to come from, I don't know, a different nook within yourself. Because to give the same kind of passion and energy that you have on stage, it takes a different part of the brain to do that on film, because it's so intimate.
So there isn't one that you do lean towards more. You're more. It's both.
It is both.
It's finding like a harmony between the two of them.
It is. I do have a sentimental place for movies, though.
Yeah.
So I'd say if I had to choose, it would probably be a little more toward movies, because, like I said, movies kind of like saved my life.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
we can get into that later. Yeah, we don't, or never. You know.
We can do a whole episode about that. But yeah, growing up, I was always interested in. I was that kid who, whenever we got together with at family gatherings, would always want to put on a show. Would always want to like figure out how to do some sort of show and present it for our parents. But I also always had a level of stage fright, which was an interesting combination. And always interested in filmmaking as well. I still have little cassette tapes of like stop motion animation that I do, like little claymation. When I was a kid, I like to figure that out. I like to make movies with my friends, and that continued on into college. I went to Augsburg University, and I studied theater. Nope, I studied film there, and I went in with a film minor in theater, and almost all of the classes overlapped, so it was very easy for me to do a double major in both. So my background in theater, my desire to get into theater was to become a better director. I was always primarily interested in filmmaking, not acting. So I did a lot of stage acting in college, but I never really got over stage fright. It was always pretty terrifying for me, and I never liked that feeling. And so it's definitely not the career path that I want to go down. So when I moved to Los Angeles, I was just focused on directing and cinematography. And that also is now transformed into aerial cinematography, flying drones. And like we've said, we spent about a decade in Los Angeles, and now here in Atlanta. I am primarily a photographer at the moment. Who knows? That could always change. In Los Angeles, I fell in love with headshot photography for actors. So many of my friends were actors, and I had a bunch of photo and video gear because I was a filmmaker. And I just started to take headshots for my friends, and it's now turned into a career. So I shoot headshots both in Los Angeles and Atlanta. So that's kind of how I got here.
Yeah, I mean, I think with everything you just said, it's sort of a good segue into how you and I actually met. Joe and I actually went to the same college, Augsburg University, but at different times. I went my freshman year and decided to finish out in Colorado after that. And Joe was a year younger than me, and he showed up, obviously, what would have been my sophomore year at Augsburg University. and we became friends with the same person.
Yeah.
Levi Morris. We are still friends today. We should have him on.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a fun guy. Also a filmmaker, creative, an amazing painter. Holy cow. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so when I moved to LA, my buddy Levi was also there. Our buddy Levi, I guess I should say. And Joe was making a movie that he wrote and was directing. And our buddy Levi was like, "Hey, I know this guy Taurean. You know, he should try out, audition." And Joe just took a chance on me, and here we are.
So, what are some of your goals for the podcast? Personally, what are you hoping to get out of it?
I mean, you know, from a very base point, it's a lot of fun, and I'm just hoping to reach people on a fun and creative level. My whole thing is, like with acting, you have to have your reason for doing it, and you know that has to go beyond, you know, financial gain.
Yeah.
And my reason is to give people that same you know, safe place that I had as a child that I got from movies. And I guess the goal is kind of the same with the podcast, just to reach people on a creative level, whether they're in the industry or not, but just to give them like a little respite. Because, I mean, like, you know, that's kind of what podcasts are used for a ton of the time. You know, it's just like, yeah, you get information, but it's also a thing of like, you know what, I'm gonna go home and take a bath and listen to my podcast or my audiobook.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's I mean, it is pretty simple. That's my goal for this. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's very easy to lose track of relationships and friendships and connections that you have, people that you always think that you're going to be talking with and interacting with, and then you realize, 5 years have gone by. So I'm looking forward to catching up with a lot of people and hearing a lot of different stories, and also having those connections lead to somebody else who I've never met before. I want to talk to people and ask, well, who do you think would be good for us to talk with on our show? And I'm curious to see where that goes. And it's also really comforting to have just a recorded history of these conversations, even if it is just for personal reasons. It's nice to know that we have these cataloged away. We have these conversations and these memories. I know personally that means a lot to me, and hopefully it does for people listening to this as well. They get a lot of joy out of these conversations.
Yeah, I friggin' hope so. Well put.
Is there a so we've covered the creative part. We've covered the guests. Is there a location you would really want to go to, a place where you want to talk to people the most? You're like, I'm looking forward to going to Seattle. I don't know. Where do you want to go to talk to people? If you could pick one place right now to go and have a conversation, where would you pick?
Oh, there's so many people that just like flooded into my mind.
Do you want me to go first?
Right now? Yeah, please.
I think I'm gonna eliminate LA just because we know so many people there, and that's an easy answer. But I'm gonna go back to my hometown of the Twin Cities in Minnesota, because I still have so many great connections that I made while in college there. I have a lot of actor friends there. I have some photographer friends there, and the state of Minnesota is also starting to pick up with a bit of film work as well. So it would be interesting to talk to some of them about how the industry is starting to take off there, what it's like shooting in these locations and dealing with the climate there as well. I had to rough some cold winters making films in college, and that is a whole new level of pain. When you're filming I was shooting on 16 millimeter film, and the actual camera, the mechanism would freeze and it would stop. So I would pick the Twin Cities. I'm interested. It's such a great artistic community as well. So there's a lot of people there I know I could pull from.
Yeah, that's a very good answer. Like I said near the beginning of the podcast here, I think my buddy Chris Garop in Colorado, who does a lot of improv, would be a fun guest. So, given that I already said Chris, I think San Francisco, because one of the best acting teachers that I've ever had lives there. His name is Larry Hecht, and it's so funny because in Scream, the movie Scream, he plays Neve Campbell's dad, and it's funny to me because he plays Neve Campbell's dad, has a total of I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 lines in the movie, right? But
I've never seen it.
See, and I'm excited again because now we need to watch Scream. Halloween is coming up.
I know.
Kind of coming up. But anyway, no. So he has this smaller, part in the in Scream. Sorry for using the word smaller. There are no small parts, only small actors, right? Okay. Anyway, past that. But he is one of the most amazing acting teachers I've ever had, and he is like the most amazing Shakespeare teacher I've ever had. He's so well spoken and just knows just everything about it. It's absolutely insane. And he was a big influence on me. And so I think that would be a lot of fun to just catch up with him, see what he's been up to, and share stories about the conservatory when we were there.
Yeah. So it looks like we might be making a trip up to Northern California as well.
That'd be great. I've only been to San Francisco once. Have you ever been?
Only once.
And it's
and
beautiful.
it was a short trip when I was there. It's amazing. California is such a massive state. There's so much to see there. And most of our time was just spent in Southern California.
Yeah.
Just in Los Angeles.
Yeah. The valley, mostly.
Mostly in the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so many places we want to go, so many people that we want to talk to. And we always want our listeners to feel free to reach out to us if they would like to personally tell their story. If you're someone we know and you're like, oh, hey, I actually would really like to come on and have these conversations and talk with you, feel free to reach out to us. Or if you know somebody who you would like us to talk to, we're always looking for suggestions.
We are, and don't be shy, because if you live, in a different state, if you live in a different country, you can still get a hold of us because we have a really great setup here where we can do remote podcasting as well. So we can hook you up remotely and do that. But don't be shy about it, and we'll give out our social medias here in a minute, so you know where to contact us.
Probably the easiest way to find me is either on Instagram or YouTube. On Instagram, I am at Joe Funk Photo, and on YouTube, I am Joe Funk, just Joe Funk, not Joe Funk Photo or Drone or anything like that. Just Joe Funk there. So you can always feel free to go to either of those and shoot me a message.
And for me, on Instagram, that's probably the best place if you ever wanted to DM me. It's Taurean the Actor.
And we'll give all of this information about our social media handles in the show notes. So feel free to look there. check out some of our links, check out some of our work, give us a follow, like, subscribe, all of the above. And like I said, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, if you have any guest ideas. We want this experience to be collaborative. We want all of our listeners to feel like they're also in this journey with us. So please reach out if you have any questions.
So I guess wrapping up, just any final thoughts, man?
No final thoughts. I'm excited for this. I'm really I'm very open-minded about where this goes and what it turns into. And I'm glad you're here with me. I'm glad that we're all on this journey together, and I can't wait to meet some amazing people.
I love when you get sentimental. I'm happy to be here too. Thank you folks for listening to our inaugural podcast, and lots more to come. So keep listening. Thanks.